Welcome! Happy Halloween! I am still going to be drawing for 2 hours today. If you haven't seen the other videos, because this is video 4, please go back and look at the previous videos so you can catch up. If you want to draw along with me, there are links below for the exact reference photo that I'm using. And then also, if you don't have the app, you can ask me for a promo code on my personal accounts, which is under Charity Lowe's Art. So like on Instagram or Facebook, I do have promo codes, which you can try the app for free for a year if you do that. So that's pretty much free lessons for a year. Anyways, let's get going. So we started off with the nose. Okay, sorry. There's just some things I need to fix a bit. Nope, can't do it. Okay, here we go. We're going to work on the nose some more. There is some areas that I noticed right away that are too dark, so I'm going to take my knead eraser and work on that. So I'm just dabbing, because I don't want to take away too much, just enough. And this is with the knead eraser. Okay, I need my blending stump. And some toilet paper. Or paper towel or tissue paper, whatever you got. But don't use your fingers. It's going to leave fingerprints that are impossible to remove. Materials I am using are a 4H, HB, 4B, and 8B pencil with a black watercolor pencil, a blending stump, tissue paper, mono zero eraser, electric eraser, and knead eraser. Those are all the materials that I use. I also use Bristol board 11 by 14 paper. Because I find that's pretty smooth, and I like the smooth texture of that. So, but drawing paper or mixed media paper is all good too. Just get like the thick stuff, because then it less likely to rip through. And just dabbing in, like dabbing the knead eraser so that it lightens up a bit. Also, I see that there is a little bit of a lighter area kind of reflecting on the inner corner of her eye, just on the nose here. So I'm just going to draw in circular motions here to kind of bring that up a bit with the mono eraser. Things you cannot see that are that I'm using is I'm using my TV to stream live of my app onto my TV so I can see it better. And I'm just going in with those little highlights and just circular motions. And I'm not doing it like to the whole area, I'm just kind of lightly doing it. Like they're not tight circles, there is some shading still in there, if that makes any sense. Just under the nostril here. And then there's a little bit of a highlight just underneath the nose, but it's very little. And then this side is very bright, so I'm gonna just take the mono eraser and just erase the whole section. We want that area to be super bright. Other materials I'll use later on is acrylic paint. It's white acrylic paint. But I don't think I'll be getting to that step right away today, so maybe it'll be in another video because I don't think it'll be that far ahead. I'm just kind of doing little dots, like erasing some dots. Trying to follow that other, like, not so bright highlight on the nose. And there's like a bit of a highlight here too. I am just playing a game called Spot the Difference. So I'm letting the strobe mode show me what is the different part compared to, like, my drawing compared to the reference, and I need to figure it out and then fix it. And you do it until you get to the point where you are satisfied, because you can work on it forever, and the longer you work on it, the more realistic it's going to look. Like, you could even go into hyper realism if you want to, but that will take a while. So you need some patience. I'm just picking it up with the knead eraser again for those other, like, softer highlights. This is actually a little bit different than what I normally do. I normally just go all the way across with like one square at a time, but for educational purposes, I'm only doing like one section, like the eyes, the nose, the mouth, so that I can go into more detail about how to do that for you. But it's totally up to you what you decide on when it comes to the order of things. There's no right or wrong. I'm going to make that little spot right there just a bit brighter. If you guys have any questions during the video, you can comment them and I will try to answer them as quickly as possible. I'm going to do a little bit of blending for those softer highlights, ones that are not so bright. stump, the blending stump for just underneath the nose here. Some circular blending on the bottom. And let me take a look, see how it's looking for comparison. I think I need to add a little bit of shadow coming from the corner of the eye towards the nose. I'm just going to use my blending stump for that because there's already some stuff on it and I don't need a whole bunch. And then just a little bit more shadowing on this corner. Not a lot, so I'm still just using my blending stump. I'm going to go in again with my tissue paper just to kind of make it even more smooth. I like blending stumps for like small shading areas and just adding a little bit of shading, and then the tissue paper for bigger areas. Okay, now we're going to move on to the lips. I'm going to use a black watercolor pencil for this, like starting with a black watercolor pencil. And I'm going to work on the lip line, like where the mouth opens, because that's the darkest area and it almost looks black if it's not black. Okay, I'm just doing a line across, maybe with like a little bit of circular motion so that it's not so harsh. So this blank piece of paper is to help prevent smudging and like grease from the hands, like oils and stuff. Because oil and graphite don't mix too well. It'll make the graphite stick to the paper and it's almost impossible to remove, or at least it's impossible to move completely. I'm just going to work on the shape a bit more. It kind of goes up and like goes down in the center, up, and then back down. Just under the top lip. Okay, now I'm going to go with the 4B pencil. This thing's falling off. Okay, and I'm going to shade in the top lift. The top lip. Did I say lift? I don't know what I said. And right now I'm just kind of doing the blocking, and I'll do more details after this part. And it's fairly dark, the top lip, in comparison to the bottom lip. And I'm going to use the tissue paper for blending the top lip. Words are not wording for me today. And back to the blending stump for the edge of it. And I'm just doing a little bit of a circular motions for the edge because it's not really a sharp line on the top. It kind of fades a bit. Hello, Ray, is it Raven? Yeah. Sorry, it's just so small I can't see without looking really close to the screen, but hello. And I'm gonna actually work on the section between the nose and the lip. So I'm gonna use a little bit of 4B for like the really dark area right here. Just kind of add more to it. And I'm gonna go to like the crease where it meets the cheek. And to the other side. This is going to be blended out a bit better after I do the lips. And I'm actually going to do the forehead after the lips. So it's gonna have a darker, like bigger, darker area, so it doesn't look like wrinkles. Okay, I'm gonna go with the HB. If I can find it. There it is. And then I'm gonna go into the lighter shaded areas and just fill them in with circular motions, trying to fill in as much, not leaving so much white behind. Just continue the circular motions, filling in that area. And it does take some time, so just be patient with yourself. The reason why you want to do circular motions is that it makes it easier to blend and you won't have those streaky lines that are almost impossible to soften or blend. And you just want to do light pressure because you don't want to dent the paper. If you dent the paper, that also makes an impossible thing to move. I'm just trying to preserve those highlights, not shading that in. And then just working underneath the nose here. This can be a bit darker, so you could put a little bit more pressure on it, but don't do too much. And then just lightens up a bit. This is where the sun, like the sun hits the face really strong. So there's some pretty strong highlights on that side. So there's very light pressure around those highlights. But it is still darker than what I have so far. And then quite a bit darker around the lip, like the edge of the mouth. And there we go. Now we're gonna blend that area with the tissue paper. And don't worry about going over the highlights, because you could always erase it. It's not too dark to worry about that. So just blend it all out. And then we can work on it some more. Okay, now I'm going to use the knead eraser and go with those softer highlights. There's one in the corner of the mouth just above the lip. And I'm just lightly dragging it. I'm not pushing down, just lightly dragging. And then I'm going to do the same where that crease is. Just lightly drag. No pressure. See where else. I'm going to dab a little bit from the bottom of the nose outward and downward too. Also maybe a little bit of dragging. There we go. I'm going to blend that out a bit because I think I did just a little bit too much, but not that much that I need to add more shadows. Just need to blend it into it. Okay, and then I'm going to do I think it's called the Cupid's bow. Just dragging it. No, not a lot of pressure from the knead eraser. Kind of all the top of the lip there. And then I'm going to dab right underneath the nose. And dab on the side of that crease. I'm going to use my blending stump because there's a bit of an area that kind of goes out like a V shape from the corner of the mouth outward, following the shape of the lip and that crease. Okay, I'm just looking for comparisons. Okay, that highlight on the crease is a little bit too bright, so I'm just going to blend it again. And I also noticed that there is a bit of a highlight that just keeps going from the lip on this side. And then I'll blend that out too. There we go. And I'm going to take my Mono eraser and go where those really light areas are and pick them up. Just, yeah, might need to do a little bit of shadowing on those highlights we made earlier. Just very lightly add. There's a little bit more shadowing. That will help that highlight pop a bit more. And then there's quite a bit of brightness right underneath the nose. And there you go, we got that part done. Now we're going to work on the details of the upper lip. So I'm going to use the 4B pencil, and there's like some there are lines that are coming from the bottom upwards that are pretty dark. They don't go all the way through, but they're there. That's not the right pencil. No wonder it's not working properly for me. Okay. They're not going all the way to the top. They're just the bottom. And if you were to just do this part just freehand, don't make them perfectly spaced out, and you don't have to go all the way to the end either. And then let me see, let's compare. So there's a little spot right here that's a bit darker. It kind of curves inward to the middle. There we go. Just a little bit of shadowing from the middle of the lip, curving the opposite direction than the other side is. And there's a little bit of a darker area just on the top. And then this corner is a bit darker than the rest, but it's actually the middle part of the top lip. I don't know why I'm saying lift. Why am I saying lift? And then it's darker on the top part. These are very subtle differences. Okay, and then I'm going to take my blending stump, and I'll actually blend going from the bottom to the top, following the direction of those little wrinkles are. And now I'm actually going to go in with the black watercolor pencil just to kind of do little triangles at the bottom where those lines were. You don't have to use black watercolor pencil. Like, you can use black colored pencil, the darkest graphite pencil you have, charcoal. Like, just play around and see what works for you. This is just my signature materials that I use. Found out it worked for me, so I just continue doing it. Okay, there is like a bit of a lighter line on the very top. I'm trying to find my stuff. Where is my stuff? Did I drop it? I think I lost my knead eraser. Uh-oh. Oh, there it is. It's on the floor. So I'm going to make a really small section, like a little, like rolling the knead eraser to a fine tip. And then I'm just dragging across the top. This is still on the lip. This is not above the lip. You don't need to do this much. And there we go. Okay, now it's time for the bottom lip. Bottom lip has some interesting lines, or the illusion of lines, because lines don't really exist in the real world. It's just shadow and highlight touching each other, and it makes the illusion, that's all. Okay, so I'm using the 4B pencil. And then I'm just gonna block in those darker shadows, trying to follow the shapes that I see from that, just the basics. I'm not looking at it with all the details right now. So it's darker just under the top lip, and then it's darker at the very bottom of the bottom lip. If you try to shadow with the lines, like how the lines would go of the lip, it will give it a better texture to make it look more realistic. But you don't have to worry about that right now. Like, if you do it, that's great. If you don't, that's great. That's fine too. There's actually kind of like two areas that look like they have lines. Like there's a line here. Let me show you. So there's a shadow line right here, and then it gets a little brighter, and then there's like another shadow line right down here. I'm going to do that other line here. it's just a big shadow underneath it. Kind of looks like she's got a goatee happening, but that is going to be fixed. Just trust the process. Man, I can't pronounce things today. Okay, and now I'm gonna go and blend that out. With the lip, I'm actually going to use the blending stump and just going with the direction of those lip lines, like those little wrinkles. And then still with the blending stump, I'm going to do the middle part, leaving that one area that's really bright alone, because there's already some graphite that is on the blending stump, and it will just give me just enough shadows. And I'm going to kind of put some lines, just breaking up that highlight a bit, still using the blending stump. And then I'm going to use the tissue paper and blend that bottom part just underneath the lip. Circular motions and just pulling it away from that area that you were working. Okay, there is still a little bit of shadow where that like lighter line is. It's still kind of dark, so I'm going to take that blending stump again and darken that line between just underneath and the lip line. It's like the extended lip line. That's what I kind of want to think of it. And then I'm also going to work on that corner of the mouth and just drag it down also just with this blending stump due to the fact that there is still some graphite on it. Okay, and I'm going to use an HB pencil. People are talking to me and I don't have a single device that will allow me to look at it at the moment. Give me a second. Maybe I do. We'll see. I'm going to see if it's important. Sorry about that. Okay. Not important at the moment. Okay, so I'm going to blend in that area I used with the 4B pencil. Like the area that I shaded in a bit. And the corner of the mouth still needs a little bit more shading. kind of harsh, so I'm gonna still blend it out a bit. Oh. Just keep working on it. And then a bit of a highlight where that crease is. So I'm just dragging the knead eraser across that. And then I'm gonna do the same on the other side, just darken that little edge of the mouth. Went darker and then worked my way to being lighter. And there's like a shadow that's underneath that here. And I'm just gonna lightly blend in that highlighted area. Now we're gonna work on the details of those wrinkles. I'm gonna zoom in some more. I'm going to take a HB pencil and I'm just going to follow those lines as best as I can. If you don't want to completely copy it, you can just follow the curvature of the lip and make sure they're not evenly spaced out or drawn all the way through. You don't want to make stripes on the mouth. You just want to make wrinkles, which only go part way in. Just continue to follow the curve of the lip. There are some lines that go all the way through, but not as many as you would think. And as the lip goes from one side to the other, the curve changes to follow it. And then we're going to take our blending stump, and I'm actually going to take off some of that graphite that we picked up from other blending. So then I'm just going to blend in the lines, just by going in the same direction as they were before, not blending it outwards, just keeping it within those lines that we did earlier. There we go. soften out the edges a bit more. I'm going to do some more shadowing in between the top and the bottom of that, leaving the one side still pretty bright, but yeah. And now I'm going to take my mono eraser and I'm going to highlight just one side of the lines that we made. Highlighting, on this side, I'm highlighting the right side of each line. Just trying to think of what I'm doing so I can describe it to you. I'm going to soften that up a bit, just a little bit, using the blending stump. And then we're going to do the highlighted areas, which are a little bit more areas of, so it's like more squares than lines, actually. And just in between those lines. I'm going to take my knead eraser and pick up some of those lines in there so it's a little bit more faded. And let's look to see how we like it. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, now we're going to work on, well, we can work on the cheeks, I guess. We'll work on the cheeks. We can actually work on it as a whole instead of just working on it in little bits here and there, but this, from here on out, it should be pretty easy. So the shade on the side of her face is not super dark, so I think I'm going to be using, we'll use a HB pencil just to see how dark it is, and we can always work up to darker if needed. There's like almost like a diamond shape of a shadow right here. So I'm going to lightly kind of sketch out that shape, but I'm not going to follow it completely. Just so that we can keep the edges still quite smooth and soft, because we don't want it to be very blocky. Just draw in circular motions. Even when you're drawing out the shape, still draw in circular motions. I think it can actually go darker, so let's go with a 4B. And we're also going to shade close to the hairline, all the way up to the brow. We're going to work from like the brow down to the chin. And then kind of just shading softer on your, like, on the edges of that shape you created earlier. Working a little bit down further. And then we're also going to do shading from the nose over towards the ear. They have like, I don't remember what this, it's almost like another diamond shape shadow around there. And then there's another kind of very faint crease just above the other one that we created. And so I'm just drawing a circular motion line from that shadow we created earlier, kind of pointing towards the end of that jawline or the cheekbone. Now it's time to blend. And then just kind of following the roundness of the cheek for this blend. Kind of try to keep this up, not bring it down at the moment. Okay, there is a bit of a shadow just underneath the eye, like the, yeah. So from here to there, there's a bit of a shadow, a curved shadow. So we're gonna still use the 4B pencil, but I don't think you need to go super dark with this. And it does look like it's darker on one side than the other, which is the side furthest away from the light source. Just lightly, like even lighter blending shadows. Like what I mean by that is the actual shadow is quite a bit darker, and then you just do a lighter edge around it for easy blending. Then back to the tissue paper to blend it out, and you can blend it outwards. You don't have to keep it in. We do want to make this quite a bit soft, like very soft. And I think it might be a little bit too dark, but let me just work on just above that first before I make that decision. Just darken just underneath the eye there. And also there's a shadow going from the top of the ear to the inner corner of the eye, so we're going to do that too before I decide to lighten up underneath the eye here. So I'm trying to see if balancing it out will help. And then blending that. Keep on dropping my stuff. And I'm going to blend it up towards the forehead too, but I'm not quite working on the forehead yet. Okay, what else needs to be darker? So from the edge of the eye down towards the edge of the lip and towards the nose is a little darker too. So I'm going to darken that area with the 4B pencil. Just really lightly though. Don't need to add too much. And blend that out using your tissue paper. I'm gonna do like an oval, like a long oval blending over here. So let's see, does that look all right, or do I need to lift up some shadows? I don't think lifting up is gonna make that like do the right thing to like to fix it, but I do think it needs to be a little bit more, but a little bit more shadowing just above it. So I'm just gonna take my knead eraser and I'm just gonna dab, just to pick up a little bit, not too much. And then I'm going to take the HB pencil and just add a little bit, like darken up just above it, just a little bit. Curved it downwards to that shadow, like the darker shadow. I still think it needs to be a little bit darker here, so I'm going to add a little bit more to it. And then blend it. Okay. I'm going to use the 8B pencil and connect this shadow that's from the top lid that meets at like the tear duct. And then just lightly around that shadow, just a little darker too. And then where the crease is at the bottom, it's a little darker as well. So I'm going to add some shadow using the 4B pencil. And it's quite thick. Like it goes thick right here and then thinner as you go up. And I'm going to try to shape that nose a bit better. Okay, and blend that out. Okay, time for coffee. I have my coffee just probably as cold as can be, but I do have it. It is time for questions if you guys have any questions. Like questions about the app, things that you want to know, like any technical difficulties that you might have, or questions about what to do if you wanted to accomplish this, just let me know. We're going to take about a 5 to 10 minute break from the drawing itself. I'm just bringing my computer over so it doesn't look like I'm not looking at you. Trying to ignore you by looking away. So yeah, if you don't have any questions, I'm just going to ramble on. I'm Charity Lowe. I've been an artist for as long as I can remember. My mom was a portrait artist. She was really good with oil painting and graphite drawings. I took as many art classes I possibly could in public school, but I did not take any classes outside of that. I did art for a hobby after high school, and then I quit for a bit, became a mother, and became a healthcare aide. And when COVID hit, I could no longer work, even though that sounds kind of strange. But the thing is, I have a chronic sore throat, so they're like, well, we don't know if it's COVID or not, so I kind of had to resign. And during that time, I tried some other methods of earning money, but I started doing commission portraits. And around the same time, that's when I found the Da Vinci Eye app, which I absolutely love. I love the Da Vinci Eye app. So I did portraits. That did help pay the bills. It was a really good first year doing that. And then I was doing some fan art and posting it in the app, and noticed that the Da Vinci Eye app was continuously reposting it on their Instagram. And my brother's like, you should ask him for a job. So I did. And that brings us here. It was starting off as a little thing, and now it's a big thing. So that's why I'm here today doing live videos, is I'm working for them now, and I wanted to teach people how I do things for inspiration on how to do it your own way. For things that we are doing right now as the Da Vinci Eye app team, is we are doing a giveaway challenge for a cash prize. There's 3 cash prizes available. And the giveaway challenge is I post a challenge every Wednesday, and I'm going to post 10 of them all together, and you only have to complete 5. And this is on the Facebook Da Vinci iApps group. So you need to enter, like, to, sorry, I'm trying to think of words and words are not coming out of my head. So you need to become a member of the group, download the app, and complete 5 out of 10 challenges, and then you could be put into the draw to win a cash prize. If you don't have the app, you can find me on my personal social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, to ask for promo codes so you can try the app for free for a year, which with this live video, I think it's really awesome because that means you'll have free classes on how to draw for a whole year. And yeah, I think that's a pretty sweet deal. You don't really get that kind of stuff very often. So what else? Just trying to think of other things that are going on right now. I think that's it. I think that's all that I have. Is there any questions you guys have? Well, I'm just gonna finish this coffee here, or maybe I'll take a couple more sips and then we'll get back to drawing. Okay, let me just put this computer to the side so I can actually get back to the drawing. Okay. Where were we? I feel like there's a strange shape that's being created just right here, so I need to blend in that a bit more with the tissue paper. I'm just going to try to work that shape of that highlight. And I'm just using a 4H pencil for this because it's a very light shadowing. I feel like I need to do the same for that eyelid too. Okay, I think that's looking pretty good. Doesn't look tired. She doesn't look tired at all. And now let's work on the jawline from the ear, and then we can also work on the ear after that too. So I'm going to use a HB pencil. If you guys do have questions during the live, go ahead and comment them, and I will respond as soon as I see them. And then if you're not watching it live, go ahead and comment anyways, and then I will try to answer your questions in the following video, or I might be able to answer them in the comments itself. I'm just using a HB pencil and just kind of doing like a circular, like drawing in circles with making a line to shape that jawline. But I don't want it to be a harsh line. That's why the circular motions. You want to try to get this as accurate as possible. And I think I'll stop right here. So I'm going to be doing this section. Okay, I'm just trying to see what I need to do next. I think I'm going to go with the 4B pencil. And do a little bit of shadowing on the left side of that crease, smile crease. And then even lighter still underneath that crease from the bottom, like the left corner of the mouth, kind of like diagonally towards like the space between the jaw and the chin. Just trying to find those subtle differences. I don't want to put too much more on there. I'm just going to blend. That tissue paper has seen enough, so I'm going to get some new stuff. And I'm going to blend it up towards the ear because it's too bright. There. Okay, now I'm going to soften some more shadows. I'm going to work in, just show you. I need to shadow from this edge all the way down to that, kind of like a triangular shape. It just needs to be a little bit darker. So I'm going to use an HB pencil to do that. There we go, and then just blend. It looks like I did make it a little bit too dark on the left side. So I'm just gonna take my knead eraser and just pick it up a bit. And then for the jawline, I'm gonna just drag it, just softly drag it. And then dab. Then there's a little bit of a highlight between the two crease lines on this side, so I'm going to also just dab. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to take a 4B pencil, and these are going to be for those little beauty marks. So the top one here is a little dark, and actually you don't need to use anything more than that. So I'm going to blend that out just ever so slightly. And then I'm going to take that blending stump and I'm going to do the other one just ever so lightly. And then there's one other one that's very faded. It's a light touch. And there's her beauty marks. Okay, we're gonna work on the ear now. I'm taking the black watercolor pencil and just shadowing those really dark areas with it. Sorry, I'm gonna take a couple of sips of my coffee. Okay, still with that black watercolor pencil and just shading in those little shapes that the dark areas are creating. And then I'm going to go with the 8B pencil. I'm going to zoom in a bit more with the app so I can see a bit better. Sorry, I'm just laughing at my daughter. It's just kind of interesting that you guys can hear a little bit of what's going on in my house. Okay, and then I'm also going to shade in that piercing too a bit. And then I'm going to go with the 4B pencil. I'm actually going to kind of outline the ear for now. Doesn't have to be a super dark line. Just don't do a super dark line for outlining the ear. Okay, and then there's that little section just underneath the earlobe, or the bottom of the earlobe, that's dark. There are some hairs that are going across the ear, but we'll do that later. We'll do that while we work on the hair. And then this line goes all the way to the edge. I'm gonna blend now. I'm gonna work from the darker area to the lighter area. Well, I'll just do the dark area first with the tissue paper, and then I'm gonna go in with the blending stump. And then I'm going to use that blending stump to do some lighter shadowing on the ear. Because I picked up some graphite. And I think that's pretty good. Now I am going to take the knead eraser and I'm going to make a very fine tip, and I'm going to be dragging along the edges of the ear. And I'm also going to work on that shadow that is on the bottom because it is too sharp. So I'm just going to pull some more shadow upwards with the 4B pencil, and then I'm going to take the tissue paper and I'm going to blend it upwards. So it's a gradual thing, not a sharp edge between the shadow and the highlight. I'm going to go back and make a narrow tip with the knead eraser and just drag with those lighter highlighted areas. And I think that's pretty good. We can work on the earring. Actually, I'm gonna soften up those highlights a little bit more still. Just lightly blend, very, very lightly blending it. We could work on the earring now, but I think I'm gonna wait for later after I've done her face and the hair and her neck. We are going to work on the chin now. Okay, I'm going to use a 4B pencil and just shade in the bottom part. It's on kind of the right side of the chin. And I'm not putting a lot of pressure on, just very lightly. And then kind of just reworking what we did when we were on the lips. Because I noticed there's a little bit of a darker lines on the chin there. Now I'm going to be using a HB pencil. It's going to zoom out a bit so I can see more. And we're going to pretty much shade in the entire left side of the face. Just on the chin. Circular motions and light pressure. And try to find all those little subtle differences that create some shapes. Differences in the shadows. So I notice it's, let me just show you here. Okay. It's darker kind of from the corner of the lip going down to the chin, and then there's like a brighter area on the left. So that's what I'm kind of working on right now. And the shadow from the cheek goes back, like goes downwards to a point. So I'm going to work on that. And then just blend. I think there still needs to be a little bit more shadow in that area. Well, let's work on this blending part too, just on the other side of the chin, so we can see it better, see what we've done. You know, I'm just going to study what the differences are just by looking at it, just flashing back and forth. I am going to draw the jawline, or yeah, the chin, the line of the chin as best as we can. I'm just using some circular motions, still kind of doing like a line, but not a very harsh line. This line is going to disappear when I work on the neck.
Are you all done there? Give you a few crackers. Have some cheese, meat, and crackers for lunch.
Still think there needs to be a little bit more shadowing. It's kind of like a triangle from the corner of the lip to the top of the chin over to the like a little bit further than the crease of the mouth, and then back to the corner of the lip. So I'm going to darken that up a bit more, still using like the HB pencil. We're just building it up until we are satisfied. Even under that lip is darker too. Is it worth to buy the Prime? Absolutely. But I can give you a promo code for trying the app for free for a year. Just find me on Facebook or Instagram under Charity Lowe's Art, and I can give you that promo code so you can test out the full version for free for a year. I just need to know if you're using an iOS or Android, because it does make a difference. You couldn't wait? Love you. He brought me some of my favorite drinks. There we go. Just, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Okay, I think that looks good on that side of the chin. I'm satisfied with how that looks. So I'm gonna work on the other side of the chin. My Mickey Mouse ears are falling. Oh, my Minnie Mouse ears are falling off. Okay, now to the other side. I'm going to be using the 4B pencil. Just trying to find it in the mix of everything. And I see that there's a pretty dark shape right here. And then also down on the bottom, it's still a little bit darker than what I had it, so I'm just going to add a little bit. Not the whole area, just a little triangle right there. And then it's still a little bit darker on that edge of the lip, so I'm going to work on that a little bit too. And then also bring that shadow down in like a larger triangle from the corner of the lip to the corner of the crease of that smile, and down just a little bit, kind of a bit further than what that shadow, that bigger shadow under the lip is. And then I'm taking a HB pencil and just kind of working around those darker shadows so that it's got more of a blended look to it. Like blah, blah. I can't say words today. Gradual, there we go. Gradual change between the dark shadows and the highlights. This side does have a pretty harsh line of highlight, so don't need to worry too much about now I still can't say it. I give up. Okay, and I'm going to take my tissue paper and I'm going to blend it. And then I'm going to make a fine tip with the knead eraser, and I'm just going to drag along the jawline. I'm not putting a whole bunch of pressure on it, but just a little bit. And I'm dragging it all the way up. I can't remember all the features you get for the premium versus the free version of it. But I believe one of the main things that I think are really important is the fact that you can use your own photos to trace from, which is great for commission artists because you get photos from your customers and you can't just randomly choose those pictures on the app. Like, they're not available on the app, obviously. So that's one reason why I like the pro version. There's some other features that are available. I just don't know exactly which ones are them, but I definitely do think, as a commissioned portrait artist myself, it is important to get the pro version of it, so that you can use your own photos. But again, if you want to try the app for free for a year, just find me on my Facebook page or my Instagram under Charity Lowe's Art, and I have promo codes for that. And depending on if you're using an Android or an iOS, it will definitely change the promo code that you use. So you got to tell me which phone you got or tablet. Just dabbing it a little bit with the knead eraser just to pick up just the little tiniest bit of the graphite. I wonder what kinds he got me. Got me a mix for drinks. My husband walked in with some drinks. Okay, I think I like how this is. I am going to do a little bit of a highlight at the corner of the lip. Just dragging it a bit using the knead eraser and then blending it out again because I made it too bright. Forgot to change the name of this video. This is episode 4, not 3. Just noticed that there's so much setting up that I keep on forgetting some random things. Okay, so we are working on the right side of the cheek now. And I'm going to be using a 4B pencil. It actually looks quite a bit darker on this side than it does the other side in some areas because there's such a harsh light that's beating down on that side of the face. And then it just lightly reflects on the other side of the face. It's kind of interesting on how light works. So taking the 4B pencil, there is like a triangular shadow underneath the eye. So I'm going to do that first. So there's direct light and then there's reflected light. And there is they're very strong on both ends. Like there's a lot of direct light and a lot of reflecting light happening in this photo that we're using. Then there's another dark triangular, or it's more like a diamond shape. So it goes from the top, like the bottom of the nose where the crease is, up towards the corner of the eye, and then from the corner of the eye out to the middle of the cheek, and then from the middle of the cheek down to the bottom part of that crease, the smiling crease, and then just following that crease after that. So it was just roughly drew in that shape. I'm going to shade it in with the 4B pencil. And it does look like it is a little bit further than what I drew it, so I'm going to expand that shadow a little bit more on the cheek. And then I'm going to still use the 4B pencil, but a little bit brighter between the nose and that shadow we made. I'm gonna sneeze. Oh, sorry about that. And we're just doing like a secondary light color for like lighter shading around that darker shading. Still using the 4B pencil. I got some darker areas right here still. And just lighter pressure than what you did before. And then we're going to take the tissue paper and blend it out. Kind of blend towards that highlighted area. And I still think that shadow needs to be darker, so I'm going to still work with the 4B pencil. It's almost like a little heart shape going on right here. So I'm going to create the heart, using a little bit more pressure than I was using before. But don't push into the paper, don't make dents. So you gotta, if it's not getting as dark as you want, just go into a darker pencil. Like I'm working on a 4B, so go anything like an 8B or anything in between. And then blending that out. There are some light wrinkles under the eye, so I'm going to use a 4H pencil for those. And just circular motions. They're very faint wrinkles that I did. Like, you almost didn't need to put them in there, but you can be as detailed or not as you want. It's all up to you. I'm going to be doing a little bit of a shadow between the corner of the eye to the edge of the face in a triangular shape. Just with the 4H pencil, because it is a very slight shadow, like very, very light. Okay, now it is time to blend that. And then I'm going to use my Mono eraser and draw, like, erase the outline of the face. This is where the really sharp light, like the intense light, is hitting her face. And because it's intense, it's a little bit more sharp outlines. There is some highlights on the lashes too, so you can add those as well. I'm just dabbing with the knead eraser just to pick up ever so slightly some of that graphite. So we got the eyes, the nose, the mouth, and the cheeks done. We can work on the forehead. And I'm going to be using the 4B pencil at first for the shadows. And this is a lot more gradual. So if you don't have the app, you can contact me. You can actually find me on my personal accounts on Facebook and Instagram at Charity Lowe's Art, and I can give you a promo code for the app so you can try the app for free for a year. And then I also recommend joining the Facebook group. We help each other out with technical stuff and just showing off artwork. And then we're also doing like giveaways as well. So right now we're doing a giveaway challenge. So I'm posting the total of 10 challenges, and you just got to complete 5, comment in those posts about those challenges, and then you are entered in the draw, and there is a cash prize for those. So pretty much free lessons for a year. You can join some fun activities that are on the Facebook group. And then if you're having technical difficulties, you can contact the app creator, Sam, through info@davinciiapp.com. Just email him and he will get to you as soon as possible. And he is the app creator, so if he doesn't know it, then nobody will. But he knows a lot. Like, he knows it inside out. Anyways, I think that is it for the day. So let's just take a look at it. Here. You can take a look at it going between the reference photo and the drawing. So I think it's coming out pretty good. Anyways, thank you for watching. If you're watching this after the fact, just comment anything you want to ask in the comments and I will answer them in the following video. And there is a playlist for the videos in order, and also in the videos there's links to download the reference photo if you want to draw along, which I recommend because that's what this video is about. So you guys have a wonderful day. Happy Halloween. Hope you guys are going to have fun. And I'll see you next week at the same time, which is 10 to 12 Mountain Time.